The Biden White House had decided to notify Kentucky's Democratic governor, Andy Beshear, that it intended to nominate an anti-choice federal judge in the state of Kentucky. So this is a follow-up on a story that we covered last week when it first broke. And the story involved Joe Biden striking this secret deal with Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, meaning Republicans are in the minority. Let's remember that. Biden strikes a deal with McConnell to essentially nominate an anti-choice, right-wing, religious zealot to a federal lifetime judgeship. In return for what? That's actually pretty unclear, even in this moment. It was reported that Biden, in return for this appointment, would get Mitch McConnell's word that he wouldn't hold up Biden's other nominees. Wow. Mitch McConnell gave you his word, Biden? So look, there's two possibilities here. Either Biden is so devastatingly stupid that he's not fit to be president of the United States. He's not fit to lead anything, okay? Or he knows exactly what he's doing and he's turning his back on his constituents, on the people who showed up to vote for him, on the people who canvassed for him, on the people who actually believed that he was honest when he was campaigning about the existential threat the Republican Party is. If he really does see the Republican Party as a threat, certainly doesn't look like it based on his actions. So there's confirmation now because CNN was able to obtain an email that was sent by the Biden White House to Andy Beshear's office to notify him, to let him know, listen, we're about to nominate this awful federal judge. So brace for impact. In an email dated June 23rd, White House aide Kathleen Marshall, who works in its Office of Intergovernmental Affairs, wrote to Coulter Minix in Beshear's office that Chad Meredith, that's the anti-choice judge, by the way, was to be nominated tomorrow to the US District Court for the Eastern District of Kentucky. The subject line of the email read, "Close hold." And the body of the correspondence included a summary of Meredith's resume. I wonder what CNN didn't provide what the resume said, but I'm curious, what did the resume say? Did it say anything about the fact that Meredith fought to uphold laws that would force women getting abortions to look at the ultrasound of the fetus, and they would also have to listen to a description of the fetus to essentially shame them and make them feel bad about the fact that they were exercising choice over what to do with their own bodies? Did his resume say anything about that? I'm curious. Minix responded the same day, writing in part, "Appreciate the heads up." Now, I want to talk a little bit about the date because that email was sent on June 23rd. June 23rd, what happened after that? June 23rd, a day later, something big happened in the country, right? The new email from the White House dated June 23rd, stating that Biden planned to nominate an anti-abortion Republican to a lifetime appointment judgeship the following day. The day that the Roe ruling ultimately came out appears to further bolster the idea that the White House did not anticipate Roe to be overturned that Friday. How can any Democratic voter look at this sad, pathetic excuse for a leader and think, nailed it? He nailed it, he really did. No, I'm so scared of the Republican Party and I'm so terrified of the fascists that I am going to support a man who carries water for the fascists. Wakey, wakey, Democratic voters. All of the apologists for corporate Democrats who spend all their days on Twitter shaming anyone who dare question the leadership of these pathetic people in the Democratic Party. Wakey, wakey. This is a lifetime judgeship. It's a federal judge. for all the idiots who responded to me by saying, well, it's Kentucky. I mean, the brain rot in this country. It's Kentucky. There's no way a liberal judge would get confirmed in Kentucky. Are you stupid? It's a federal judgeship, which is why the president appoints the individual and the Senate confirms the individual. I don't know if you guys know this, might sound a little crazy. Democrats are in charge in the federal government. Why are we doing favors for Turtle Man Mitch McConnell? Someone explain that to me. I need to understand. When are blue checkmark libs on Twitter finally gonna get it? They are aiding and abetting the destruction of this country by providing cover for the worst Democratic leadership imaginable. There's more. So remember, they sent this email to Andy Beshear's office one day before Roe is overturned by the Supreme Court, and they were caught off guard. They didn't expect it to happen. They didn't expect, even though they had literally 6 weeks to prepare, they didn't expect it. They didn't expect it. Earlier, CNN had reported White House counsel Dana Remus had assured senior aides that the ruling would not come out on that Friday, amid Democrats' growing frustration about perceived lack of urgency from the Biden White House following the Roe decision. So embarrassing. And after the Supreme Court did exactly what they said they were gonna do, after they did what they warned they were gonna do, looks like the White House got a little scared about the fact that they were about to nominate a terrible judge in a federal appointment for a lifetime judgeship, okay? So in another email dated June 29th, Marshall wrote to the same aide in Beshear's office, Coulter, sorry for not including this in the original email, but I wanted to clarify that the email I sent was pre-decisional and privileged information. Please let me know if you have any questions. In other words, let me just decode that for you. Please don't let this get out to the public or the press because it doesn't look good that the president of the United States, a Democrat, struck a deal with Mitch McConnell to install an anti-choice right-winger to a federal judgeship position in Kentucky. Yeah, it doesn't look so good. Glad we know about it though. Beshear, a Democrat, strongly criticized Biden, saying in a recent news conference, if the president makes that nomination, it is indefensible. I totally agree with you, Andy B. Totally agree with you. Not voting for this guy. Biden should not seek re-election. Biden needs to step aside and allow for someone who actually has interest in leading to do just that. Someone who's not interested in aiding and abetting right-wingers. But look, Biden told us exactly who he was. I mean, he bragged about having a record of concessions to right-wingers in government. Bragged about how he worked with Republicans to prevent, school integration through busing. He bragged about that while he was campaigning. He told us who he was. But all those liberals who were terrified of Bernie Sanders told us to shut up, sit down, because Biden is the only one who can beat Trump. But what's the point of beating Trump if you're aiding and abetting people like him every day in a position of power? In the position of power that you have. Finally, just want to remind you about what Biden said on March 4th, 2020. We need judges who will respect Roe v. Wade as the law, and we need a Congress that will protect reproductive rights. If I'm president, that leadership will start at the top. If that's what leadership looks like for Joe Biden, the only thing he should be leading is his afternoon naps. Go to sleep, leave us alone, make way for someone who actually wants to do the job. This man is a complete and utter disaster. I'm absolutely furious about this. But aside from being furious with Biden, I'm furious for all of the naive individuals who saw that initial story break about this appointment and tried to do everything they could to deny that it was real. Instead of holding him accountable, instead of applying pressure to prevent Biden appointing this person, this anti-choice individual, for a lifetime judgeship, they started trying to question the credibility of the news, question the credibility of the reporting. There's no vacancy for a federal judgeship in Kentucky, as if it's impossible for someone to retire and create a vacancy so they can get a younger right-wing zealot in to basically make decisions about our lives for the rest of his working life. Biden is not fit to lead. Democratic leadership needs to go. And I know I'm being harsh on Biden because he deserves it at this moment, but you should take a look at how many federal judges were appointed by Donald Trump and confirmed with the help of Chuck Schumer making deals with Mitch McConnell. Democratic leadership has got to go. And if it doesn't go, there is no way in hell I would support that party. I'm done with them. I don't care. There's no amount of fear mongering about Republicans that can change my mind at this point. Because the whole point of supporting the Democratic Party is that they're supposed to, in the very least, even if they don't do anything real for us, in the very least, they were supposed to stop the bleeding. But they're aiding and abetting the bleeding. Joe Biden's coming in and he's ripping that wound open even more. That's what he's doing with this issue involving this judge. They don't deserve our votes. I want to support the opposition to the Republican Party, but it needs to be the opposition to the Republican Party, not individuals who aid and abet the pain and suffering that the Republican Party aggressively fights for. And that's what Biden does.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.